Summary tables and summary charts are a great way to help students build evidence-based explanations over time over the course of a unit. This practice is important because it helps students do the intellectual heavy lifting in the classroom as they engage like scientists in reasoning with evidence. In science, scientists will justify explanations, weighing different kinds of evidence to help make progress on scientific ideas. In classrooms, this practice can help break down the notion that science is about right and wrong answers, and it allows multiple entry points for students. In this video, you will see a teacher from Seattle Public Schools who's introducing a KLEWS chart for the first time to second graders. Notice how the teacher frames the lesson and moves beyond this key concept of landforms are made of rock and asks students to critically examine this concept and develop a set of questions that they can return to over time.
So today we're doing something new that Miss Morgan hasn't done with you guys before, and Miss Thompson and Miss Sanchez wanted to be here for it too. We call this activity that we're going to be doing a summary chart or a summary table. That word summary might sound familiar, like when we're doing reading, and we say, let's summarize this text, or tell me a summary of what happened in the story, right?
Yeah.
So what we're going to be doing is we're doing a summary of what we've learned so far in science. And we have clues to help us guide this summary chart. Right? Clues. Is that how we spell the word clue normally? No, but it works for here. The K stands for know, so what do we know? The L stands for learn, what have we learned? E stands for evidence, what have we done to show that we've learned that thing? What are we still wondering about? We are so good at wondering. We've been practicing that so much, so I bet we'll have some good wonderings. And what science vocab, so the scientific words, are we using when we're talking about our topic? Okay? Do you guys remember what we did on science last time? It's like all the way last week. Tough. Christina, do you remember?
About landforms?
About
Yes.
landforms. Oh, I see people are agreeing. They're like, oh yes, that's what we did. Do you guys remember, what do we know about landforms? What do we know about them? Julissa?
Most of them are made out of rock.
The landforms are made out of rock, right?
Maybe not all of them.
You don't think all of them?
No.
Does somebody agree, disagree, or want to add on to what Julissa is saying? What do you think, Erin? I'll come back to you. Catherine?
I agree because that is true because sometimes landforms aren't like made only from rock. They can make anything. Yeah, like probably like dirt because sometimes it could be hard dirt from water and then it could probably turn
Hard dirt from water. Okay, let's roll it back. Can you guys tell me about some landforms that we know about?
Let's have a quiz.
Yeah, let's roll it back and have some clues. What landforms do we know about? Landforms can be canyons. What else? Olive? Islands. Kingston?
Mesa.
Jared? Peninsula. That is your guys' favorite. And I'm not going to spell it right now, but that's okay.
I think that's right.
That's all right. Nadia? Beaches. Oh, and I saw some Me Too people were thinking that too. Vanessa?
Mountains.
Mountains. Zaki?
Volcanoes.
Volcanoes.
Ooh.
All right, I'm going to put etc. That means there's more, but we just can't keep listening. Look at all of those. Canyons, island, mesas, peninsula, beaches, mountains, volcanoes. Okay? And last time, we each picked a landform. We had a page like this. We picked a landform and we drew it, and we wrote down what we thought they were made of. This is one of a mesa, and it's labeled, and it said that this landform is made of rock, small bushes, and red sand. Here's another one that looks like a beach to me because it has big rock, land, trees, sand, water. And it says this landform is made of rock and water and land. Here's another one that looks like a beach. It says this landform is made of sand, labeled waves, sand, water. Another beach that says this landform is made of sand and water because when you dig in the sand, you can find water. Now, take a look at what they all wrote on the back when we revised these. Same ones. This landform is made of rock. 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 So then what did we learn about the landforms last time?
Every landform is made out of rock.
All the landforms are made of rock.
Maybe.
What's making you still not be convinced, Cadence? Why are you still not convinced?
Just because those ones are made of rock doesn't mean all the landforms in the world are made of rock. Yeah.
Okay, so you still have some wondering about that?
Yeah, because we don't know all of them. Yeah, true. Probably don't know all of them. Space.
Miss Sanchez and Miss Thompson, do you guys have any thoughts on what you're hearing so far?
I'm just curious about if there, because I hear that there's still some like ideas that it might be made out of something else. So maybe we can think about what else could it be possibly made out of though.
Yeah. That's what
I
was
mean,
thinking.
I don't know what else I would think they were made out of. Does anyone have any ideas? Because
Yeah.
what could it be made out of?
Sand.
Oh, but I hear some people saying, but what is sand made from?
Yeah. Rock.
Rock. Oh.
Basically.
So maybe that won't work because sand is rock.
Okay.
Okay, so that first one down. All right, Dylan.
Sand is little tiny pieces of rock.
Okay, little tiny pieces of rock. Cadence, since you are having some debate about this, what do you think landforms could be made of?
Well, snow, because not all snow, but the top of the mountain.
So what's on top of the mountain could be ice and snow. Do you think it could still be a mountain without the rock?
Yeah. Snow mountain.
Would that just be like a hill then? Or like a pile?
Of snow.
Right. Okay, so, Cadence, if you didn't have the rock in the mountain and it was just snow or ice, could we call that a mountain?
No. The snow mountain.
Okay, but what if we took away the ice and the snow and we still had the rock part, could we call it a mountain?
Yeah.
Okay.
So are you thinking of glaciers?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, now I'm kind of confused,
You're you could be revising your thinking.
I guess.
Yeah, and that's okay. Scientists do that all the time. Mathematicians do that all the time.
All the time.
Sean?
So, in the middle of the earth, there's lava in the middle of the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and probably, I think instead of rock, there might be some gravel. And I was thinking probably if there's rock, and if you went mining to mine the rock, what would be under
Well, and I like your idea about lava, because does lava look hard or does it look kind of liquidy?
Liquidy.
Okay, right? And so when it shoots out, right, and it can slowly move down the volcano side, right? But then something happens to that lava.
Oh.
Jared?
Lava turns into rock.
Lava turns into rock.
It's lava.
It dries up and turns into rock.
Ah, so maybe even though lava looks kind of liquidy, it still is some sort of form of rock because it eventually will harden into that. It's kind of like almost a liquid rock, right? Until it can dry and harden. Kingston?
There might be a landform that isn't made of rocks. Maybe like ice caves.
All right, we did look at caves last time together, right? And we saw that there is rock on top, below, all around, right? And you're thinking about ice.
Rock everywhere.
Okay. Aaron? Okay. Cadence?
Well, the point about Sean's when he said gravel, gravel is basically just tiny, tiny bits of rock, like put together, like a. Yeah.
You're right. So that's kind of coming back to our point that maybe some of us were picturing some things that we thought, oh, that can't be rock, like gravel and sand and lava. But now we're kind of revising our thinking like, wait a second, maybe that is rock. Maybe all landforms are made from rock. I want to look at the word landforms. It's kind of that compound word, right? There are two small words that we know, right? Landforms.
Forms of land.
Right. And if we're thinking of ice, like ice caves or the ice on top of mountains, that's not really in our like land form, right?
Yeah.
So I think the landforms that we're thinking of, canyons, islands, mesas, peninsulas, beaches, mountains, volcanoes, all of those are made from rock. And we saw that last week when we revised our thinking and all realized that all of the landforms we picked were all made from rock. We did research in those books that we read together, and it caused us to, I'm going to put these up here, change our minds to go from that to that.
Oh.
Sean?
So if land forms were, if he says it's made out of rock,
Mm-hmm.
then how would the rock be, like, how would they know what is under the rock?
So are you wondering or can I write down a wondering of what is under the rock?
Yeah, what's under? More rocks. That's what's under it.
I want you guys to think for a minute about what we have learned so far, what we know, the evidence that we've gathered with our books that we've read, and the worksheets we've done together. And I want you to think, what are you still wondering about? And maybe even connect it back to that question that we have about the recreation center. Remember, we're trying to figure out what happened to the side of the cliff there that now the flagpole is only 1 meter away instead of 2 meters away. They want their recreation center to be safe. And so they want to know what is happening on that cliff side that now it's only 1 meter instead of 2. So we know that landforms are made of rock. But what are we still wondering about? What are we still thinking about? I want you to turn and talk to your partners. What are you thinking about in terms of what we've learned?
I know what
Oh, yeah.
I know lava, rocks, and islands, and caves. Islands, there's like kinds of different plants, rocks.
What do you still want to do?
If it's rock, maybe if we didn't break
Rock is
And
hard.
all right. Any wonderings that you and your partner are thinking about at this point in our unit? Olive,
What are rocks made of?
what are rocks made of?
Oh, yeah.
Some other people are thinking, yeah. Christina?
Maybe just some of them are made out of gems because some rocks can't always be rocks inside.
So maybe what are rocks made of? What's inside?
If there are rocks all over the place, right? Did lava come there or something?
So if there are rocks all over the place, did lava go everywhere? Is what you're wondering?
That's a great question. It's almost like how are rocks made? Just slightly different than what they're made of. It's a good question.
And Sean, you were kind of thinking about that too, right? Aaron?
How can lava turn into rock?
How does lava turn into rock? Cadence?
Well, I think I know one of the reasons that the flag was only 2 meters and then 1 meter away.
Okay, you have a guess.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking of?
It might have been erosion, and erosion is where water kind of dissolves rock
Ah,
or land,
okay.
and
So,
there was some water down below.
do you know how does water do that to rock?
Mm.
Should we maybe write that down on a wondering? Like, how can water erode a rock?
Yeah. What does erode mean?
Great question. Cadence, do you think you can explain that word?
Yeah, erode is like where water, well, I just explained it, but it's kind of where water dissolves rock or land.
So it almost, yeah, it's kind of like dissolving it,
Yeah.
breaking down little pieces of it. That's a big word though, erosion. Yeah, maybe a word that we'll come back to later. Cece?
I think I know the answer of how lava, well, I know one of the answers of how lava turns into rock.
What's that?
So, I think it's, lava is really hot, so maybe, like, if you put cold water or, like, something cold onto lava, it will turn onto rock because it will just freeze,
Okay,
maybe.
maybe. Yeah, something we can think about.
Green apple.
Julissa?
I'm guessing the same thing as Cadence. Probably that maybe the lava melted, and then it went, the lava pushed over there, and then what Cece said, if there was water, it would like turn into hard rock, so then it could have like dried it, and then it would have been rock.
So you're thinking that water that's right by the recreation center, there was like lava and then that water cooled it down?
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking about? Okay, we'll do Audrey and then Sean, okay? Audrey?
I wonder, like, what is lava made of? Like, how does it turn to rock? So, like, is it like melted rock or something?
Okay, so, what's inside? What is lava made of?
I think that's made out of fire. It's made out of fire. No, it's made out of rock.
Yeah, Sean.
So I think I know how it is. So when it was when the dinosaurs were living here,
Mm-hmm.
so there was like a meteor coming from above, and it crashed into the ground, and then probably because if it crashes to the ground, probably it scatters into rocks, and probably it was a really big one, so it probably covered the whole world with rocks, and then and then there's grass always there, and then the rocks just went on top of it, and that's why when you pick up a rock, sometimes when you're in the field, you'll basically see grass in it.
And yeah, so there'll be rocks, grass, rocks.
Yeah,
Like that.
and because of a volcano, it will explode. And when it probably when it's up, if there's rocks in there, it will make it, and it will come down the rocks. It was covered in lava, and it'll probably turn into rocks because it will hit the ground, and then it will scatter, like I said, and then it turns everything to rock.
All right. Wow, really great thinking, you guys. We had so many good ideas, really great wonderings, starting to tie back to that question about what was happening to that side of the cliff near the recreation center. We will continue science tomorrow, and we will keep this KLEWS chart up in our classroom and even out in the pod when we move on to different chapters in the unit, so that we can keep track of what we're learning. Because each time we are doing a new lesson or a new chapter, it's building on what we've already learned, so we don't want to forget it. So we want to summarize what we've learned, keep track of our wonderings, and see if any of them can get answered.